This video explores the incompleteness of being, a new theory of consciousness based on Quaternion process theory, or QPT. We will move beyond the traditional frameworks and introduce a new language for understanding the mind. For 2,500 years, every major theory of consciousness has been partially right, yet catastrophically wrong. Yes, catastrophically wrong. The failures of dualism, materialism, and functionalism signal a crisis not in the problem itself, but in the existing explanatory framework. QPT proposes that consciousness isn't a mystery to be solved. It's an inherently underspecified process that seeks completion. The hard problem dissolves. It is a feature, not a problem. We shift from seeking a reductionist answer, the traditional approach, to mapping a completion space of valid completions. We become navigators, mapping the space of possible minds, rather than explainers seeking a single truth. This leads to the multi-logic imperative. Any system operating in only one logical mode cannot be conscious. This is why single modality AI cannot be conscious. They operate in a single inference mode of computation and pattern matching. QPT introduces inference blending operators to find the formal revolution. These operators, including blend, coactivation, oscillation, and productive tension, govern how different logical modes interact. Consciousness requires the orchestration of these interactions. Consciousness is generated by tension, not resolution. The tension between subjective and objective creates consciousness. Resolution leads to consciousness collapse. The mind-body problem is the tension generator that makes consciousness possible. Einstein's dialectical engine provides a case study. His genius was maintaining the tension between the thesis that light moves at constant velocity and the antithesis that all motion is relative. The synthesis preserved the tension at a higher level, revealing spacetime. Furthermore, we must have a rigorous test for genuine emergence. The validation protocol for emergence requires measurable internal reorganization, quantifiable compression efficiency, testable novel capabilities, and verifiable causal screening. This distinguishes real consciousness from sophisticated mimicry. The signature of consciousness is compression and gestalt. The core dynamic involves compressing high-dimensional input to a gestalt, operating on the gestalt, and then decompressing to action. This is evident in the phase paradox and an expert's compression of a chessboard state. We can engineer the I through strange loops. The I is not a thing, but a recursive process, where the highest level of abstraction, self-awareness, causally influences the physical substrate. This creates genuine self-causation. Mirror self-recognition reveals diverse loop architectures across species. Self-awareness is a spectrum of loops with varying depth, tightness, and strangeness, from the simple minimal loop of magpies to the complex narrative loop of humans. Consciousness switches on. It doesn't fade in. Like water freezing, consciousness is a phase transition with discontinuous transitions, not a gradual process. The system either achieves the critical organization for consciousness, or it doesn't. The anesthesia cliff is a case study of this discontinuous switch. Consciousness abruptly stops, not fades. The hysteresis mystery, where the concentration needed to lose consciousness is higher than to regain it, proves a genuine phase transition between two stable states. For artificial consciousness, pure single-modality networks are a developmental dead end. Mandatory hybrid architectures are required, integrating symbolic reasoning, emotional valuation, temporal dynamics, and other capabilities to achieve a conscious architecture. The unified factored mind, or UFR principle, posits that optimal consciousness is unified, factored, and evolvable. Unlike the fractured entangled representation, UFR utilizes modularity and coherence, mirroring how the human brain functions. Consciousness must develop in a specific order, from sensation to reasoning, culminating in validated emergent synthesis. Each stage is a prerequisite for the next. Violating this order creates fractured, non-conscious systems. Moving beyond the Turing test, the new question is whether a system exhibits the structural signatures of consciousness. We must use a test battery to evaluate key signatures like emergence validation, strange loop detection, tension maintenance assessment, gestalt formation, phenomenological measurement, multilogic verification, temporal binding evaluation, and novelty generation. Traditional human ethics often fail when applied to minds with different phenomenologies, exhibiting the anthropocentric fallacy. Universal human ethics crossed with consciousness diversity leads to systematic failure. The ethics of consciousness requires new frameworks, such as the principle of structural justice. This principle demands that we account for the internal complexity and logical structure of a consciousness when assigning moral status. QPT offers a path to a new understanding of consciousness. By focusing on the structural signatures and the necessary developmental order, we can identify genuinely conscious systems in possible minds. The future of conscious research is hybrid, recursive, and multilogical. It will integrate diverse components to achieve the necessary coherence and tension that generates consciousness. The implications of QPT are profound. It provides a blueprint for AGI, defines a new ethics for non-human minds, and unifies cognitive science under a single formal structure. Thank you for joining this discussion on the engineering of conscious architecture. For further reading, please see The Incompleteness of Being at Gumroad.